Alright, what's going on, guys? EGM coming at you with a brand new video. And today I got my man, the real Joker, Chad Martin, with me. We're going to be talking about the UFC 214 card and fights that should happen, based on the results from this past card. Thank you for joining me, Chad. I appreciate your time, man.
Good to be here, EGM.
Alright, man. So let's start off with 214. What do you think about the card? A scale out from 1 to 10. What do you rate the card?
Man, I enjoyed it. It was a stacked card. I thought, for the most part, it delivered.
Yeah.
I'll give it a solid 9. I think pretty much all the fights were good. Even the one that we'll be talking about a little bit later that people didn't think was so exciting.
Yeah.
I thought it was good just from a technical standpoint watching it.
No, yeah, I kind of understand where you're going to go with that. All right, man. So let's start with on the prelims, Ortega and Moicano. What do you think about that fight, how it ended?
Man, that Ortega, if he was like a world-class wrestler,
yeah,
I think he'd be tapping everybody in the first minute of the first round.
Yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And he has a chin, dude. He surprised me with the strikes that he was taking. Moicano was landing some solid shots on him.
Oh, definitely. I thought Moicano was going to be able to outclass him on the feet a bit, but
yeah.
Ortega's a tough dude.
Well, before he went down, how did you have the scorecard?
Man, I think Moicano was slightly ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I think they won fight of the night. It could have gone either way.
No, yeah, they did. But yeah, that was a real close fight. They were both landing shots, but like you said, I think Moicano was landing, a tad more than Ortega was until he shot. And when he shot, and I saw that Ortega locked in that guillotine, man, that was crazy. It didn't look like it was all that deep. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, he's got a way of tapping dudes quick once it hits the ground. I mean,
yeah, he's
just a neck snatcher. Call him T-City for a reason, but I guess they can call him G-City too.
Hey, but so what do you think's next for both guys, Ortega and Moicano?
Moicano, maybe he fight Jason Knight. I think that would be a fun fight.
Oh, yeah.
Ortega, oh, man, he's getting into that elite class. He's got to get a top 5 guy next.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he can fight a guy like Yair, although Yair's coming off a loss. I think that would be a fun fight.
Yeah, it would.
I think Edgar will be too much for him at this point.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
I think Edgar's fighting for the title next anyway. Aldo would be a tough go.
What about Cub? You think he can take on Cub?
Cub? Oh, man. Yeah, that would definitely be a fun fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd mark that one down. I think Cub would be a perfect next opponent for Ortega.
Because what was he ranked coming in here? 8, right? I believe.
Yeah, I believe he's 8.
Number 8.
I don't know Cub's ranking off the top of my head, but I figure he's in the top 5 conversation.
No, yeah, he is. I want to say that he's number 2. I think he's number 2 after he beat Do Ho Choi.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got Lamas at 3. Man, where's Aldo at right now after he lost to Max Holloway?
Oh, Aldo was 1.
Well, he might be 2 then, right?
He moved down too far because he just beat Edgar before that.
Yeah, so he might be at 2. Maybe Cub's 4 because Lamas is 3. Nah, yeah, but that'll be a fun fight to make because, like you said, Ortega's ranked number 8. Now he's got to fight someone in the top 5 to be able to say that he's earned a shot.
Oh, definitely, and that's a perfect next opponent. It's going to be interesting if he can stand with Cub like with Moicano.
Yeah.
And see if he does take Cub down. Cub's a longtime black belt himself, so round exchanges would be really exciting. That's a definite fight of the night.
No, yeah, definitely. That'll be a scrap for sure. What about Sterling and Burrell, man? Who'd you have going into that fight, and what do you think about the result?
Oh man, I'm not gonna say I was surprised just because Burrell has looked off since the Dillashaw fight.
Yeah,
but even saying that, he's never been taken down in the UFC before. And Sterling, when he's fighting guys that are good wrestlers or guys that he doesn't necessarily want to go to the ground with them, he's had issues like lost to Sun Xiao and Caraway, and I think Burrell better stand up than both of those guys. So
Yeah.
I was surprised by how dominant Sterling was, especially when he got the takedown. It just shows how good he is on the ground.
Yeah, he did look a bit or much stronger than Burrell too.
Oh yeah, he's a bigger. He's
Yeah.
like a 145 John Jones, just big,
Yeah.
long, rangy guy.
Yeah. So
His stand-up looked improved as well, especially when Burrell got tired after he rode him after getting the takedown. He was picking him apart on the feet too. So as his stand-up improves, he's gonna make good on his potential that people saw in him before he got his first loss.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I had seen somewhere like on one of the interviews, he called out Jimmy Rivera. What do you think about that?
He called out Jimmy?
Yeah, well, he said that he feels that the next step in his career for him to be able to move closer towards a title shot, well, it would be Jimmy.
Can he make 135? Because Jimmy's in the title conversation at 35.
Well, I
I
think that Burrell fight was at 135.
I think it was a catch weight.
It was a catch weight. No, yeah, it was a catch weight. You're right. No, yeah, but he said he would like to fight Jimmy Rivera.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that'll be a good one. I don't know if he's in that conversation though, as far as because he had the recent loss to Sun Xiao and Caraway back to back.
No, yeah.
Rivera's right in the thick of it.
Man, Rivera's a great wrestler, man. Excellent wrestler.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how he could, if he can get the takedown on Rivera and keep him down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd favor Rivera in that fight just because
I would
I hear boxing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Lamas looked impressive.
Man, Lamas, I picked him to win that just because I thought his grappling would be better and he could control Knight on the ground. But, man, he lit him up.
He did.
Got the TKO on the feet.
Yep. No, and I kind of thought this was similar to the Yair Rodriguez-Frankie Edgar fight. I kind of think that Jason Knight bit off more than he can chew.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was too big of a step up for him.
Yeah, I think he shouldn't have taken that fight. At least not yet, But Jason Knight definitely does have a future in that division. He has a lot of potential. But man, Lamas, man, he did look sharp.
Yeah, Lamas has for a while now been one of the better 145ers, just kind of like Cub and Edgar.
Yeah.
He gets a loss right in the thick of the title chaser in the title fight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's a definitely top 3, top 5 45er for sure. So
let's
be interested to see who he fights.
Yeah. So let's say like Frankie Edgar gets the shot with Max Holloway, right? What do you think Lamas should do? You think he should fight Cub Swanson for a number 1 contender spot?
Well, I like your Ortega idea better for but yeah, for a number 1 contender, oh man, it's hard to deny him.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just realizing how deep that division is.
No, yeah, it is.
But yeah, I could see him. If Aldo's going to fight again relatively soon, I could see Lamas having a rematch with Aldo.
Yeah.
Or Cub Swanson. I'm sure we can find somebody else for Ortega to fight too.
Yeah.
If they're both in the thick of the number 1 contender.
Mm-hmm.
Just so many guys. They've just got to fight each other round robin style.
Yep. And now we move on to the main card, man. So the first fight, Volkan Ozdemir and Jimmy Manuwa. Now I thought that the fight would end rather quickly. Even when the fight started, we were switching the channels back and forth between UFC 214 and the Mikey Garcia and Adrian Broner boxing match. But and I told my brother, I was like, man, this fight will probably end in less than 2 minutes because that's the kind of power both these guys have in their hands. But I thought it would be the other way around. I thought Jimmy Manuwa would be the one that landed that shot and put Ozdemir to sleep. But man, Ozdemir showed up, man, and he gave Jimmy Manuwa a taste of his own did that surprise you at all, or?
Oh yeah, I thought Manuwa. I didn't think it would be a quick one. I thought that he'd pick him apart just being a superior technical striker and finish him in the second, because Ozdemir, the only time we've seen him past 30 seconds was the Ovis Improved fight, which he got tired in.
Yep.
But, man, as long as he's mugging guys like he did Manuwa, he's a force to be reckoned with. Mm-hmm. I actually think what rocked Manuwa was when he got shoved to the ground by that bully Vulcan.
Yeah. That was crazy. That was an exciting fight and an exciting finish. So you think Ozdemir deserves a title shot, or you think he needs to take someone out like Gustafsson before he's in that conversation?
Oh man, I mean, 205, not the deepest division right now.
Definitely.
They let Ryan Bader and Phil Davis go to Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
But they need somebody to fight Jones. But if you get Jones fighting Brock Lesnar, then Ozdemir and Gustafsson is the natural next fight to make in that division.
I think that fight should be done to see who gets that next crack at John Jones, just in case John Jones does end up waiting for Brock Lesnar to come back. If that is the case, and get that super fight. Now, what about Manu?
Ends up rekindling past demons. Loses his belt again.
Yeah. No, but what about Manu, man? I mean, what do you see him doing after that? Because that's a devastating loss, man. A devastating knockout.
Devastating loss, and he's an older guy.
Yeah, he is.
So I like your idea on Cormier.
Yeah. I think
him and Manuwa.
Yeah, him and Manuwa both coming off losses. Yeah, and that'll be a fight whoever wins, it would still keep them relevant in that division.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and now the Robbie Lawler and Cerrone. That was a pretty good scrap, but some people had Cerrone, some people had Lawler. Who do you think got the better of that fight?
I lean towards Lawler just because the forward pressure in the third round. I thought Lawler won the first, Cerrone won the second, and 10-point must system. I mean, Cerrone won the second bigger than Lawler won the first or the third, but it's 10-point must system, so I thought 2 rounds to 1, Robbie won it. Neither guy did enough to get a 10-8 round, and I could definitely see the argument for Cerrone. I just didn't think he threw enough, and he was on his bicycle.
Yeah.
Did too much in that third round, but wish it was a 5-rounder. That's for sure.
Yeah. I wish they could do that fight again as a main event on, a Fox card or something like that, because that was a pretty good fight.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't mind that next fight for both guys, rematch.
Yeah, because I personally thought that Cerrone won, but like you said, it wasn't. If they gave it to Lawler, I wasn't upset. I wasn't. I don't want to call that a robbery because it was so close. I think Cerrone landed 29 or 30 strikes, and Robbie Lawler landed, I think, 1 less. So it was really close. But like you said, I think in the eyes of the judges, Lawler's pressure did make a difference. Because in the first round, man, he came out swinging. He came out, super aggressive, and I think it caught Cerrone off guard.
I think it's the stigma Cerrone has gotten himself over his career. If you come right after him off the bat, bring the pressure, he doesn't handle pressure well.
Yeah.
But he showed that's not always the case, because Robbie's one of the best at doing that. One of the most intimidating guys in the sport, and he handled it. So hats off to the Cowboy for being able to weather the storm and make a fight of it.
Yeah. So, after the fight, in the post-fight press conference, they asked Robbie Lawler if he thought, that he was a clear number 1 contender. He kind of hesitated. It kind of seems, well, he said that, he needs to go back and fix some things and, work on himself and, work on his technique and things like that and just continue to improve it. So it sounded like he doesn't really want that, title shot yet. That's what it sounded like to me. So where do you think he goes from there? Do you think, like you said, a rematch with Donald Cerrone, or, maybe a Jorge Masvidal or a Stephen Thompson?
Yeah, well, I think him and Masvidal trained together quite a bit. I know Lawler switched camps, but I don't know if they still get together, because same general area out in Florida that he's training at. I think part of that was just the type of guy Lawler is. He's kind of an introvert individual. He doesn't like market himself, beat his chest like a bunch of fighters do. He lets his talking
Yeah.
get done in the octagon. I could see them having a rematch with Tyron because he was a good champion. He had a couple defenses.
Yeah.
And he'd earn a rematch, especially since their fight ended so quick. So I think after he's gotten a win, you could make a case for having another fight, seeing if Woodley can do that again. But if not, then I'd definitely like to see a 5-rounder between him and Cerrone on Fox, just because they're two guys, veterans of the sport. Sometimes you don't do fights just off a ring. You just do what's the funnest fight.
Yeah.
Right now, the funnest fight in the division, or one of the top 2 or 3, is going to be Lawler and Cerrone.
Yeah. And one of the fights that fans want to see too. Those two guys are fan favorites, so a lot of people would definitely tune in to watch that rematch.
Absolutely, it just speaks to how stacked this card is.
Yeah.
It was the second fight on the main card. Normally, it's going to be main or co-main, no matter which card they're fighting.
No, yeah, for sure. So what about Cerrone, man? I mean, that's 2 straight already. What do you see him doing?
I think he's at the point in his career right now where he's just after fun fights.
Yeah. Just enjoying himself, right?
I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't turn down a title shot given the opportunity, but he's had those opportunities before, and they haven't quite come through for him. So I think he's just after the fun fights, the performance of the night bonuses, and making as much money as he can while he can still do it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. Cyborg, man, for the featherweight belt, the vacant featherweight belt against Evinger, man, early on in the fight, throughout the entirety of the fight, actually, Cyborg was landing some bombs, man, but Evinger was game. She ate a few of those. So, it was, obviously it was lopsided. Cyborg was clearly winning the fight, but, it was entertaining. It was entertaining. So, what do you see Cyborg doing next? Because obviously Durandamy moved back down to bantamweight. She don't want to fight Cyborg, So what do you see? Do you see a fight with Holly Holm or
Nothing against women's MMA.
Yeah.
There's only one reason they made the 145 women's division, and that's for Cyborg.
For Cyborg.
Basically the Cyborg division.
Yeah.
And, all they're doing is moving up 135ers like Evinger up to 145, or Durandamy or Holm. They don't have a very deep pool of 145ers to choose from, and Cyborg can't make 135.
No,
so
yeah.
This is kind of what they have to do to feature the best, or probably the best women's MMA fighter in history of the sport. But so whoever she fights next, it's probably going to be a 35er moving up. So I'd lean towards Holly Holm, just because that's a fight people have wanted to see for a while now.
Yeah.
And, there's only so many marketable fights they can have for Cyborg.
Yeah, well, I believe after 214, Dana White said that he spoke to Holly Holm backstage, and she sounded interested in a title shot with Cyborg. So, do you I've seen people on Twitter or people discussing that Holly Holm may have a shot because her boxing technique, her striking techniques are way smoother and way cleaner than Chris Cyborg. Do you think that she has a chance in the fight with Cyborg? Because obviously in a fight anything can happen. Two people are throwing punches.
Oh yeah.
Anything can go down. But in your eyes, do you see Holly Holm being an actual threat to Chris Cyborg?
I think she's the biggest threat available right now.
Yeah.
Because Durandamy wants no part of her, and there's only so many people to choose from. But I'd still make Cyborg a pretty solid favorite in that fight.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
She's got too many tools to work with, too much power.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people underestimate her grappling skills, because they really don't get to see that much. But
Absolutely.
she definitely knows how to grapple. I think she's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or is she a black belt?
I don't know offhand. I want to say, at least at the purple belt level, she's won some legitimate tournaments, like IBJJF World Tournaments. As a purple, I don't know if she has as a brown as well, but for women's MMA, that's a pretty high level of jiu-jitsu skill, especially with her size and athleticism compared to her opponents.
Yeah. So now, man, the co-main event of the evening. I know you have some things to say about that fight.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you watch Damian Maia's fight since he's been at 170, and basically he takes guys down right off the bat every fight.
Yep.
And you know, a lot of people were booing the fight, but I think Tyron just did what he had to do to win the fight. He's, you know, say what you want about him, but he's fought the toughest opponents in his weight class, one after the other. He's the most active UFC champion currently, and he's fighting the toughest opponents, and he's doing what he has to do to win against completely different styles. So that's tough to do. You can't have a highlight reel every fight.
Yeah.
I think he stuffed, what was it, 0 for 21 on takedowns on Maia, and you know who's done that to Maia before? That's crazy. But yeah, I will say though, Woodley grabbed the fence, I think once or twice.
Yeah, he did. I think twice it was.
Yeah. So Maia may have gotten a takedown off those attempts. I think they need to institute a rule in MMA. You know, don't do a warning, don't do a point deduction. Warning's not enough because it's a fight-changing technique potentially, and a point deduction sometimes too much because who's going to say whether the guy's going to finish the takedown or, you know, win the round off the takedown. But I think the best solution to fence grabbing is just start the guys on the ground. As soon as he grabs the fence, just put him on the ground.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
The fight play out from there.
No, I never really put any thought into that, but that's a solid solution to that kind of problem. Because you're right, it has a potential to change a fight. Because if all Maia needs is for him to get you down to the ground once, and he has an opportunity to win that fight. And because
all he needs is one, and I think the first fence grab was in the second round.
Yeah.
And if he gets a takedown with a couple minutes remaining in a 5-round fight, he doesn't finish him, he's gonna drain that energy bar, and he's gonna make Woodley tired if he has to work to get up that position. And it could potentially be a completely different fight, but we'll never know.
But I was impressed by Tyron Woodley's performance. You know, I don't think that he, you know, forced anything. I think he kind of stuck to his game plan. You know, I think he could have finished the fight. I think he knocked him down in the second round, I believe. I think he could have ended the fight. But then after the fight, he came out and said that I think he has a torn labrum in his shoulder or something like that. So it was kind of it was limiting his.
That he was able to stop the takedown. Throughout the fight even more.
Yeah, so I understand now why, you know, he wasn't throwing more overhands and hooks and, you know, power punches and things like that. So, you know, I was impressed by Tyron Woodley and you know, his ability to stay calm, you know, and you know, not necessarily just go for a highlight reel knockout like you say, you know, and you know, because who's done that to Damian Maia? I mean, the guy shot 20 plus times and not once did he get Tyron Woodley to the ground. So it shows how great of a wrestler Tyron Woodley is. You know, but yeah, I don't have any bad things to say. Do you think he could have finished that fight?
Yeah, I mean, there was opportunities there, but then, you know, what happens if he follows Maia to the ground and gets caught, and everybody's like, oh, look what you did. You made a big mistake. What were you thinking?
Yeah.
You know? So I think he did what he had to do to beat that specific opponent. We know he's got knockout power. We saw it when he fought Robbie Lawler in other fights before. It's just sometimes, you know, your opponent is going to dictate how the fight goes, and you can't always win in really impressive highlight reel fashion like Anderson Silva used to do when he was champ.
Yeah, and you're definitely not gonna you know please everyone, you know, please all the fans, you know, with every single performance, you know. So I think it's kind of unfair the treatment that he was getting from Dana White, you know, how Dana White was.
I would say Tyron can do a better job of making himself likable on the microphone to fans. I mean,
definitely.
After he beat Robbie, he was calling out GSP and Nick Diaz, guys who haven't fought in years.
Yeah.
And everybody knew that Wonder Boy and Maia deserved title shots, and he's calling these guys out. It sounded like he's ducking them. Well, he's just fought them, but the perception is going to be reality with fans. They're like, well, you didn't want to fight him, so it doesn't count that you fought him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he's just like, hey, I'm in the stacked division, I got to fight the toughest guys, then, and he does that, then how fans look at him and his performances is going to be different than if he's just, saying, I want the money fights, I want to fight GSP, Nick Diaz, Connor, all those guys.
Yeah. So now, Tyron Woodley, retained his belt, obviously. So, GSP, the ship is sailed once again.
Yep.
Dana White said that the first time that Bisping and GSP was scheduled, and it was called off, that GSP was going to get the winner of Damian Maia and Tyron Woodley. But because of the performance, I guess, in Dana White's eyes, he's going to give the money fight to Michael Bisping. So what's next for Tyron Woodley then? Once he comes back from injury, do you see, I don't know, maybe a number one contender fight between Robbie Lawler and Stephen Thompson? Maybe Stephen Thompson can get another crack at him if he wins another fight. How do you see that welterweight division playing out?
I think Thompson, just because he fought Tyron twice already, is at least 2 fights out of the picture right now.
Yeah.
It also depends on how long Tyron's out. A lot of these guys could possibly get a fight in between to settle this division a little bit more. I know that Colby Covington's been on a bit of a run. And been trash talking with Woodley, so they might push that fight, old teammate angle type deal.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have to win another fight as well. But I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Robbie Lawler again.
Yeah,
it's a guaranteed exciting fight. Just depends on how long he's out, because I really want to see Robbie and Cowboy fight again.
Yeah.
But if Cowboy wins, I don't know if that necessarily puts him closer to the shot, because he recently lost to Masvidal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind Tyron fighting Robbie. Wouldn't mind Colby Covington. The GSP fight would have been ideal with his timing now that he's the 2 clear top contenders, and Masvidal, the next top contender, just coming off a loss. So right now it looks like Robbie's probably the number 1 guy to beat, unless they set up another matchup here.
Yeah.
Sit out.
What about Maia? What can he do to stay relevant in that division?
Oh man, Maia and Wonder Boy, they just lost, title fights that weren't the most fan friendly, like casual fan friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both, a couple fights out of the title picture. I wouldn't mind seeing them fight each other, because they're both, top 3 guys in the division, probably. And wouldn't mind to see them fight. And if one guy wins decisively, he's right back in the thick of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had seen somewhere recently that Stephen Thompson was actually talking about fighting Jorge Masvidal. They were doing that Q&A with the fans, and they had both agreed to fight. I don't know if you saw that. That they said that was something that they would both be interested in.
That would be a fun fight too. I mean, all 3 guys coming off of losses. Match them up, mix and match. They're both, 1 or 2 fights away from being right back in the thick of the title fight. Yeah.
Well, this will be backtracking a little bit, but Woodley's last defense against Stephen Thompson, obviously the first one was a majority draw, and then his last defense before Maia against Thompson, the rematch was a majority decision. Did you think that Wonder Boy won 3 of the rounds, even though there wasn't much action going on?
That was man. Neither guy did very much offensively in that fight.
Yeah.
It was lackluster.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they respected each other too much.
Yeah.
So I thought, if anything, they should have had another draw, because I couldn't really pick a winner out of that one. But Woodley had the biggest moment of the fight.
Yeah.
It is a 10-point must system. So I'd say old school pride rules. Woodley won, but looks like they found 3 rounds for him in that one as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely number 1 contender. The number 1 contender spot in the welterweight division is kind of wide open too. But
absolutely.
So now we move on to the main event of the evening, man. John Jones, came back after a variety of different situations that he found himself. Lost his belt. was stripped of his belt, and, came back, had another opportunity to fight Daniel Cormier at 200. He was pulled off that card. Just a lot of things were going bad for him, in his personal life, in his career as well. So he came back Saturday, as we all know, and he finished that fight in excellent fashion, man. It really impressed me. What do you think of the fight? What do you think of John Jones' performance, and is he the greatest fighter of all time?
I thought the fight was excellent. Thought it lived up to the hype, and yeah, I think John Jones is the best ever. I think he's the GOAT. My breakdown last week for the UFC 214 card, I said John Jones is the best ever, but I think Cormier is going to win because of factors outside the octagon.
Yeah.
Thought ring rust might play a role. I thought Cormier might be in his head too much, so he might not fight as calm as normal. I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
He was calm as ever. He looked like his normal, best ever self. And Cormier, he looked really, really good too. That was a very competitive fight between two of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
And Jones got the finish in the third round. Excellent head kick, and then, as always, that vicious ground and pound that he brings to the table, finish the fight off.
Mm-hmm. No, but I had John Jones finishing the fight. I thought obviously that he wasn't going to be the same John Jones just because of the layoff.
Yeah.
But I couldn't look past the fact that he had a 12-inch reach on him. He was about 5 inches taller than him. But Daniel Cormier did impress me. He was in that fight, man, and he had a really good game plan. He was doing exactly what he said. He was in John Jones' face from the beginning. It's just disappointing that he made one mistake and John Jones capitalized on it. Because in this sport, that's all you have to do, man. You make one mistake and it's enough to lose you the fight. But he definitely did impress, and he's a true champion. In the way he represented himself. A model champion like John Jones said. So let's start off with the loser. Daniel Cormier. What's next for him? Like, you think he should fight Jimmy Manuwa? Or
I think Jimmy Manuwa, if he stays at 205, I'd actually like to see him at heavyweight. I think that opens up a whole bunch of new options for him.
Mm-hmm.
He was very good at heavyweight before. He beat TRT Bigfoot and Strikeforce. He beat Josh Barnett.
Yeah.
I think that he can present matchup problems for a lot of guys in that division. Mm-hmm. Heavyweight, they're kind of wide open as far as potential title challengers for Stipe. So I think Cormier, he gets a win in the heavyweight division. He might be right in the thick of the heavyweight title picture.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, a move up definitely could make sense for Daniel Cormier. And John Jones.
He's getting older, and
the
weight cut's getting harder and harder as he's older.
I think he's 38, right? 38 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's up there in age, and he's a big guy. He'd beaten some pretty legitimate heavyweights. He had beaten Roy Nelson and who was the other guy? And he was 2-0 at heavyweight, I believe. Frank Mir, yeah. Yeah, so he'd beaten some legitimate opponents at that division. That'll be interesting to see if he takes that into consideration. But
Yeah, and as we saw against Jones, first half of the fight.
Yeah.
He can handle a reach disadvantage.
And
he's done it in previous fights.
Mm-hmm.
He's usually at a reach disadvantage.
Yeah.
He's so good, so talented, such a smart fighter that he can handle that.
No, yeah, because the first fight with John Jones, I think he didn't. I mean, he knew John Jones was the bigger fighter, and John Jones is usually the bigger fighter in his fights. But I think it still surprised him at how long John Jones is. But I think what helped him was fighting Gustafsson. In that fight with Gustafsson, I think it gave him a better feel for fighting, on how to prepare for John Jones, and get a better feel for being at a reach disadvantage, But like I said, he proved himself in that fight, So, I wish nothing good, for his future. But John Jones, the champion, man, he called out, Brock Lesnar. Everyone was going crazy. That's what everyone's talking about right now. Do you think that fight gets done? You think he waits the 6 months until Brock Lesnar clears USADA and then, gets that super fight done? Or do you see him fighting Alexander Gustafsson?
I'd like to see it. I think that would be fun. 205, it's hard to find a clear contender like we talked about earlier with Ozdemir. If they can figure out a way to make a John Jones-Brock Lesnar fight, UFC needs a fight like that.
Yeah.
To, weather the storm while Connor's off boxing and Ronda Rousey's basically retired. They needed a marquee fight to get that million-plus pay-per-view buy, and that's definitely the one to do it.
Yeah.
So I think it would be fun. I think Jones beats Lesnar, but
nah, I agree.
I don't know if Lesnar makes it to the cage without getting popped by USADA.
Yeah. So, do you think he should, go after that fight? Like you said, it'll be an exciting fight, and
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, the 205 fights are going to be there.
Yeah.
And he's why not have a fun fight?
Yeah.
He's proven himself as in my opinion, the best ever. So why not start testing yourself at heavyweight every now and then?
Yeah. No, well, John, you're right. John Jones, he's been a big draw, and he's been a cash cow, he was the main draw before Conor McGregor got there and before he went through that whole situation, with losing his belt and things like that. So, I totally agree with you. I think it's about time to see how much money he can actually make in a super fight, because he's already a big draw. He already, piles up the views, but yeah, I think that'll be exciting. I
think he wouldn't mind because he's lost a lot of money with all these suspensions.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Let's get Brock Lesnar in there and get him a cash infusion.
No, yeah, definitely. The layoff, yeah, it hurt him financially. But I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. Like you said, I think John Jones, obviously the way better striker. The only problem that Brock Lesnar would possess would probably be his strength, his wrestling. But I would like to see John Jones fight Alexander Gustafsson because that was a great fight. The first fight was really close. I think it could have gone either way. I had John Jones winning the fight. But if you say you think Gustafsson won that fight, I'm not mad at you. But how do you see a second fight going with Gustafsson? How do you see that fight going down if that were to happen?
I think it would be awesome. I'd have to favor Jones, but Gustafsson, him and Cormier are the toughest matchups for Jones at 205, and Gustafsson presents the added issue for Jones, being a long, rangy guy as well. And we'll see how both guys adapt from their first fight.
Yeah.
Competing against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd love to see that, but Lesnar's only going to be around forever, so if he can make the fight, that would be cool. But I give it like a 30% chance of that happening.
Mm-hmm.
So more realistically, Gustafsson.
Yeah.
The next option.
So, like we were talking about right now, that would be a huge draw, him and Brock Lesnar. Obviously John Jones would be the favorite because he's the more all-around martial artist. But how much of a shot do you give John Jones of being able to compete, with elite heavyweights? You got, Cain Velasquez once he comes back from injury. Stipe Miocic, obviously the champion. You think he can hang with those, those elite heavyweights? Absolutely.
I mean, look at Stipe. Stipe doesn't cut to 265.
Yeah.
Like, Derek Lewis or some of the bigger guys. And look how dominant he is.
Mm-hmm.
John Jones, he'd be a little smaller than Stipe weight-wise when he's not cutting.
Mm-hmm.
And let's look at his skill set. I mean, he's elite pretty much everywhere. The only thing he lacks is, one-punch KO power.
Yeah.
Most guys do. And his fight IQ is, top of the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he could totally adapt at heavyweight. Look how much success Cormier had at heavyweight.
Yeah.
I think Jones can pick up right there as well.
Mm-hmm. So, we talked about the UFC 214 card. What about this card coming up Saturday, man? The main event. Let's talk about Brandon Moreno and Sergio Pettis. What do you think about that fight?
Pettis and Moreno?
Yeah.
It's arguably a number one contender fight in the flyweight division.
Oh, yeah.
I really like both guys. I like how they fight. I like what they bring to the table. Pettis, he's got a good jab. He fights long. He's active. He's got good pressure on the feet.
Yeah.
He's a more traditional striker than his brother.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
He is hittable in the pocket. He needs to stay at range because he's got poor head movement, but he does a good job, moving around at range. And Moreno, he's a long rangey guy. He's aggressive, standing on the ground. He throws looping strikes, and he's hittable himself due to over aggressiveness, jumping in and out with flurry. So I think both guys are gonna land their share of shots in this fight. The X factor here is the wrestling.
Yeah.
Moreno, he's aggressive. He's got good wrestling. Drives through his takedowns. Likes to lock his hands against the cage on the double and slam him to the ground. Pettis, he plays the guillotine game sometimes when guys shoot in on him. Tries to lock up a guillotine and concedes the takedown.
Yeah.
When he could focus more on defending. And I think that's probably going to be the biggest factor in this fight. Is I think Moreno's going to win the wrestling portion.
Yeah.
I think Pettis should edge him out on the feet, but Moreno's gonna get to decide where the fight takes place. And I think Moreno's a little bit better on the ground, so I'd lean Moreno submission, probably third round.
That's funny because I actually have the same pick. I have Moreno winning the fight in submission, third round.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We might think alike, hopefully.
No, yeah, but it's definitely a tough fight to choose because they're so well schooled, and
Absolutely.
it's definitely going to be an interesting fight, a tough fight to choose. If you have to pick between both of them. But you said, what was interesting is that you said this is a number one contender fight. Now, if you look at their rankings, you may say, oh, these guys are 6 and 7, but in reality, it is a number one contender fight because if you look at the top contenders like Henry Cejudo, Joseph Benavidez, Demetrius Johnson has already beat them. So, like you said, the winner of this fight can arguably be next in line after, whoever wins between Demetrius Johnson and Ray Borg. So yeah, man. I mean, it definitely, that's a good point. It definitely is a number one contender fight. I just think that Brandon Moreno has, so much heart. Just the way he came in. Obviously, he lost on the Ultimate Fighter. I believe it was his first fight, right, against Alejandro Pantoja.
Yeah.
He lost that fight by submission, and then he takes a fight on short notice against Luis Smolka.
Yep.
Yeah, who at that time I think he was ranked number 9. I think just inside the top 10.
He was on a run.
Yeah, he's on a run.
An Ireland card, beat that Paddy Holohan, and
yeah.
he was beating a lot of good fighters, and Moreno shocked everybody.
Yeah, he shocked everybody with that submission, man. And then the split decision against who was that?
The same guy that Ryan Benoit.
Yeah, him.
Beat Sergio Pettis about a year or two ago.
Yeah, split decision. That was a close fight. He edged that one out. The judges, gave him the victory, and then he came out. His last fight was against Dustin Ortiz, a really solid wrestler. He got Moreno to the ground a few times in that scrap, right? And until Moreno just landed that clean kick, hurt him, and eventually sinked in. I believe it was a rear naked choke. So, and it's a tough fight because Pettis obviously comes from a good training gym, a good camp, and but Moreno, like I said, he's just on a run, and he's a tough guy to stop. There's he's a fighter that is really there's really nothing that he can't do, and it's just entertaining to watch these guys, in their fights, and but yeah, definitely, I agree with you. I think Moreno's gonna win this fight.
Absolutely. The thing I'm excited about with both of these guys is they're both really young. I think they're like 23 years old, and so they're each making improvements each fight. I think Moreno hasn't been training at a big gym as long as Pettis has, so I think there's more room for him to improve and grow. He's a little bit more athletic, probably. Just bigger, stronger guy, more explosive, and so I think that's another X factor in this fight is how much is Moreno going to improve fight to fight. Pettis is going to improve as well, but he's been at the same place for so long. Like how much can he improve compared to Moreno?
Yeah, and so okay, let's say whoever wins, right, Pettis or Moreno. You and I both agree that this is potentially a number one contender fight, but do you do you think that Dana White and Sean Shelby would give the winner a title shot? Or do you think ideally they would make him fight, someone in the top 5, like obviously Henry Cejudo's fighting Wilson Hayes, I believe, at 215. So, maybe the winner of that fight, or Joseph Benavidez, or what do you think? That's a possibility that they don't give him a shot immediately and make them fight someone in the top 5. And if so, who do you think would be the right fight for them to solidify their shot as solidify their shot at the belt?
I think that Dana does not want to give either guy a title shot because that would mean Mighty Mouse is staying at 125, and I think he wants to move him up to 35 to fight Cody Garbrandt, Dillashaw, Cruz, all the marquee fights. But if he stays at 125, I think they got to give it to him because it's going to be a tough sell. He beat Benavidez twice, the second time decisively.
Cejudo decisively.
The first time. Cejudo needs to get a marquee win. Wilson Hayes, the same thing. But if Johnson moves up to fight, Garbrandt in a super fight or Dillashaw, then I think Benavidez would be the natural next option because he's like the Rich Franklin of the flyweight division. After Rich Franklin met Anderson Silva, it's like I can beat anybody but Anderson. That's how it is for Benavidez right now.
Yeah. So that leads us on to the next question. MMA God had asked asked the both of us if how much longer can Demetrius Johnson stay at the 125-pound division, and defend his belt before he does look for a super fight, like you said, against Cody Garbrandt or if TJ Dillashaw wins the belt or whoever has the belt in that division. How much longer do you think before that actually happens?
Well, I think actions speak louder than words, and Mighty Mouse has talked about wanting to get in a marquee money fight for a while, but his actions are he's staying at 125 fighting these guys that, people don't really know, like Wilson Hayes, who's been around a while, accomplished guys, but they're not necessarily like, pay-per-view draws.
Yeah.
But I think he, kind of like Bernard Hopkins in boxing, he set the middleweight boxing record, just stuck around. There was a lot of big fights available in other weight classes, and he just stuck around at 160 forever and just fought whoever was there, and he didn't really get a big name until he beat Felix Trinidad in a marquee fight, and there's just not too many of those to go around until this classic coming up on Saturday between Sergio Pettis and Brandon Moreno.
Yeah.
So I think Demetrius Johnson, if he has his way, he'll stay around for as long as they let him have fights at 125 because. He's a classic competitor. He just wants to prove nobody can beat him at 125. And, he might make more money against Garbrandt. Well, he will make more money at 135.
No, yeah, for sure.
Bigger risk.
No, yeah, definitely. You think he has a shot to beat, the elite 135 pounders? Obviously, he's great. There's no doubting his skill set. But, those guys do, like Cody Garbrandt has supreme power in his punches, an excellent boxer. You think he holds his own in that division?
I think he holds his own. Before he moved down to 125, he
fought Cruz.
Had a title fight with Cruz.
Yeah.
And so I think he can beat most guys in that division. Will he look as dominant as he is at 125? No. It's just guys are too big and too good at that at 135. He's him and Benavidez are like the marquee guys that are 125 right now, and there's just more to choose from, a deeper pool at 135.
Yeah. All right, Chad. Well, I appreciate you, coming on here, talking MMA with me. Make sure you guys check out his channel. His channel link's going to be in the description down below. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section. But yeah, Chad, I appreciate your time, man.
No, definitely. Good talking to you. And everybody listening wants to hit the subscribe button if they like what they hear on my channel and EGM's channel. And y'all have a good night. Hope to hope to hear from everybody in the comments section about what they want to hear from us and how they liked our analysis, etc.
Yeah, and stay tuned for more content because, we'll definitely be making some more videos together. All right, man.
Definitely. All right, you have a good one.
All right, you too, man.